Well, it looks like we had to make another one. This is part 17 of the build of the U.S. Coast Guard Fast Response Cutter by Dumas Products. So I'm working on the railings, item 447 on the instructions, page 30. Step 447, punch out the C74s and the C75 and tape them along the stern. See figure 110. There's figure 110. Fine. Okay, YouTubers, here's our C75. Tape them to the stern. Oh, can't do that because the chocks are already installed. What? And here on page 28 of the instructions, chocks, part number 28-542. It doesn't say anything not installing those four. That means I've got to take them off. Got to take those off to go ahead and fit these guys on. Oops. Well, YouTubers, you remember what I said a long time ago? You got to go ahead and read some parts ahead. Well, I hadn't counted on this. So I don't know whose fault this is, but we're going to fix it. Thanks, YouTubers. So it took me about 20 minutes to go ahead and remove those chocks using my heat gun and X-Acto knife and peeling them off. Then I went ahead and put a couple of coats of the deck gray on, then put this on as described. And I'm kind of glad I didn't put those gate hinges on. Would have to remove those too. They were in the paint shop. Those gate hinges right here, instructions on page 29. So the railing, this should have been way back on, let's see, right after the goosenecks. Page 28, that's where it should have been. Also, they don't show the gate hinges here, so there was the big mistake on their part. This is a picture of the stern of the U.S. Coast Guard Fast Response Cutter, Bernard C. Weber. You can see the stern gate hinges here. And the railings, as we're talking about, the inside railings. This piece here will remain, might be the only piece that will remain if you decide to go ahead and change this to a copper tubing or brass rod. So after taking a look at the actual vessel, this should be round. The piping, as I see it, on the actual Weber, it should be piping, but you could convert this to a round makeshift type pipe. So what we're going to go ahead and do is to do a mock-up, and this is actually 14 gauge copper wire that is the same design as this. And so the actual piping will be either 0.125 of an inch or 1/8 inch brass rod or brass tubing bent to size as to duplicate this. So the only two pieces that I'm actually using will be these two pieces here supporting that rail or the piping. The lower rod is actually two pieces of 1/8 inch brass rod that I fused together because I needed it longer than 12 inches. Be sure to use a micro torch first to anneal prior to bending. This is my homemade brass rod bender put together in a couple hours, and the bender in operation. So before you bend your rod or even your tube, make sure it's properly annealed, get it soft. Use a micro torch. This is a Dubro tube bender here, and if you don't do it, it'll damage it. So as I'm looking what I need to do next, it says 451, cut 6 3/32 diameter dowels to 1 7/16 inches long. Okay. So I'm looking at my drawing, looking at the stanchions. Okay. The rails. Okay. And here, this main picture here, take a look. Here it shows the aft, and here's the side view. Here's your hull here. It shows it going up at an angle like that, and it's calculated at 15/16 and up here is like 1.02 something. I wrote it down, but let's take a look at the Weber picture. This is the stern of the Weber, and as you see on the stern, it's a little higher than the rest of the hull as it goes down. This is because when your screws are turning, produces a lot of wave action here. So take a look at this line right here, it's going down. This is your tube, your pipe is level. These stanchions are higher this way, unlike that drawing we were just looking at. Well, YouTubers, we're going to stop here for right now. We'll go ahead and make a continuation of part 17, and that will be next. Thanks for watching, YouTubers.